Matthew Sapp, President of the Frisco Firefighters Association. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
So you and the association are really supporting Props A and B. You're urging residents to vote for it. Why is that?
In 2021, we took a vote as to move forward with collective bargaining, civil service, meet and confer, one of the three. We started to bring meet and confer to the city because we have some issues that need to be addressed in the city for community safety and firefighter safety. The city didn't want to work with us on meet and confer. We tried to continue to work with the city manager's office, and we felt right now was the right time to go ask the citizens if this was going to be something they wanted to work on. We got 6,000 signatures from our citizens to put Proposition A and B on the ballot for May.
You talked a little bit about it, but was there anything in particular that led up to this? And how long has this been in the works?
So this has been at work since 2021. There's a number of things that have led to this. We started fighting for better workers' comp benefits at the city level in 2021. Found out the city didn't want to work with it, so we went to the legislature. The mayor at the time, Jeff Cheney, wrote a letter against any kind of workers' comp changes. So we came back in the 23 legislature, and the city again fought us. With the city fighting us on workers' comp, the concerns for staffing, because we're not running the national staffing standard. We're running about 62 minimum. We should be running about 78 firefighters on duty at any given time. And then our response time's kind of ballooning. Those were kind of the three biggest factors that led us finally to bringing this to the citizens to just put the question before them, whether or not Proposition A and B should be adopted, and we started that process in July.
How would Props A and B impact what you said as far as staffing levels are concerned and response times?
Proposition B would be something that would affect response times and staffing, because you can actually negotiate with your city management for working conditions such as staffing. Obviously, if you have more firefighters, then your response times can be better. We did a GIS study, which the city still hasn't met with us to present. We've been trying to meet with them since November. It tells us we need another medic at Station 4. It tells us we shouldn't have gotten rid of our squad unit, which the fire chief got rid of, which is a 2-person unit that responds to priority EMS calls. So that's Prop B that would address our response times and our staffing.
And I'm sure you've seen the Frisco Safety First website, and they basically say that a fire union makes its money by stealing it away from the local taxpayer. And it would, if they win, it would be like winning the lottery for them. What's your response to that?
It's pretty comical that's their remarks. So that PAC is actually chaired and being run and funded by Bill Woodard, who's a current city council member, Mayor Jeff Cheney, who's the current mayor, and both of which, again, we were established in 1997. Both of those members of the city council and the mayor have been endorsed and taken contributions from our PAC, tens of thousands of dollars, as well as our name over the years. So for them to act like we're all of a sudden just here and we're going to go take their money is pretty comical, because we're not sitting at the diocese at city council asking for money. We have sat there for 3 or 4 years and asked for staffing every year. PD has seen about 50 police officers over the last 3 years. We have not added any firefighters.
Why not?
It's a good question. Be somebody to ask across the city hall. Public safety typically grows in parity, so we can't figure out why we're not getting staffing either.
I mean, is this a danger? Are citizens at risk here?
Yeah, we believe so. The city did a Mayday report in 2021, and it's called the Facets Report. It's paid for by the city, paid for by tax dollars. It was after the Circle fire that we had in February of 2021. And if you read that report, it says that we weren't meeting the national staffing standard. Had we have been on that apartment fire, we would have had 20 additional fires showing up. So for us, when you're talking about all the development that's going on in the city, as we're getting taller, more vertical with the high rises coming in, universal, PGA, you have to have the appropriate response matrix to go to those type of calls.
And is this a question of mismanagement?
We believe so. The city manager ultimately puts before the city council what's on the budget. I think that if you look at the fact that we've been increasing in population, we've been increasing in size, and just the scope of what we're building in Frisco, but we haven't added a firefighter in 3 or 4 years, that should give some people concern. In 2022, our average response times for the 90th percentile was somewhere between 7.5 minutes and 8 minutes. Now they're in the high 8s and 9s in most of our districts.
You say on your website that this wouldn't necessarily increase costs. It's not going to raise taxes.
Yeah.
But I mean, if a city has to staff up, and if a third-party arbitration panel gets to work with firefighters and the city managers, I mean, you are looking at costs going up, right?
Yeah, of course, staffing would cost city money, regardless of what department it's in. I think the goal, of course, of us and the hope would be the city is to find a collaborative effort to how that staffing comes to pass. If we need 24 firefighters, we understand we can't get 24 firefighters next year, but there has to be a plan to get there over a 5 or 6 year period. If that means 3 additional firefighters every year over what you were going to hire for a station, then that's what you need to do. With the Prop B and the negotiation, you can give things up too, right? If it's going to cost X amount of dollars and the firefighters have to give something up to city staffing, which is a safety and a career longevity issue, then our members are willing to do that. But you can't have those conversations if you can't have that type of dialogue. The goal would also be for it never to go to arbitration. The goal is always to be collaborative, which is why we brought them meet and confer in 21 first.
And you guys are used to, and women are used to fighting fires. Now you're fighting politically as well.
Mm-hmm.
What's that like?
My VP always says it best. None of us got in the fire service to be inside of politics. We've been involved in politics because of it's a necessity. We all took an oath to, protect our citizens, and we believe this is a concern, just as the workers' comp issues were concerns for our firemen. And when there's an issue, we're firefighters. By nature, we're problem solvers. So it's just another problem we're trying to solve.
Are you concerned at all that you're not only going up against, you are going up against, some council members who don't want you, don't want this to pass, but at the same time you're going up against Frisco Chamber of Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if other organizations have come out against you. What's that like?
I think if you look at it, it's not surprising. The Chamber of Commerce has a bunch of people who are on that board that donate to the current city council members. So for them to come out against us isn't surprising. I think the interesting thing is that they tell citizens it's going to cost $7 million, but a firefighter costs $114,000. So if you actually look at that number, it's 61 firefighters. We've never said we needed 61 firefighters. So with a lot of things in this, there's a lot of mistruths, and having to fight them on all these fronts isn't fun. But again, we took an oath to do what we felt was right for our citizens and our firemen, and that's what we're doing. So, if we have to fight at the political level and take it to the voters, that's just what we're going to do.
How are you on pay versus other departments of this size?
I think if you look at our base pay, we range somewhere in the mid to who we compare to, somewhere between like 4 and 7. Pay has never really been an issue here in Frisco. It's never been something we've complained about. So the pay is somewhere between 4 and 6, and that's just if you look at the base pay. There's a bunch of different other factors that can make us lower on the pay scale. Plano has box pay, there's paramedic pay added on to people's certification pays, things like that. But just from a base pay perspective, we sit somewhere between like 4 and 6. This whole area kind of just seems every year one department jumps another, so it's always a little difficult to keep track.
So what happens if you don't win and neither Prop A or B passes? What happens?
If Prop A and Prop B don't pass, then the citizens told us that they don't want us to have that type of a voice in the city for the fire service, and we will continue to make efforts and improvements how we've always done it, which is build relationships with city council members, especially the new ones that will be coming in, Because you got to remember, at the end of the day, they're only here for 8 or 9 years, and we're here for the better part of 3 decades for most of our people. So we'll start those processes of building those relationships, and hopefully the next group of city council members that come in put priority back on public safety. You know, they took public safety off their top 10 list a couple years ago, and it hasn't been back on there.
And my last question to you is, you know, as far as the what you said before about financing, you know, contributing to the mayor's campaign and to other council members, do you see, regardless of what happens, you know, for next year when council members are on the ballot, I mean, there are some council members on the ballot this year, but going forward, is that going to make the association think differently when it comes to their campaign contributions?
Oh, no doubt. You know, all of our members voluntarily donate to the PAC. So it's always their vote. We take the questionnaires that we get from whoever's running, we bring it back to them, they make a vote on who we're going to endorse. So yeah, I have no doubt that that will change how we look at candidates and how we determine whether or not we're going to make any kind of campaign contributions, because I've already heard it from the members. You know, they're concerned that we've endorsed a number of these city council members that are actively opposing their firefighters while putting on their signs, "We love our firefighters." They don't feel that way, obviously, and for good reason. So yeah, I won't be surprised if the membership, you know, changes direction in how they view candidates.
Matthew Sapp, President of the Frisco Firefighters Association, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yes, sir.